request since January this year?
Yeah, I think so. I'm working with my dad.
Oh, okay. It's a little bit better to actually do this process as an overseas voter because we're actually covered under federal law. We actually, if your ballot doesn't come in time, you get to vote like a backup ballot. It's like the only instance where you get to vote twice. So if you want to walk around and ask people if they want to register to vote, yeah, do that here. Do I need to do something? Do I need to get a table? Where are you going to put it? So just, you're going to set myself up in a second. Right. And I was like, I mean, like, this just seems like...
Hi Ada, this is September the 22nd and we are standing near Notre Dame, Legendary Cathedral and one of the biggest tourist spots in Paris. We are not here for tourism though, but to discuss the upcoming midterms in the US. You know, well, behind us is Shakespeare and Company, the famous British bookshop in Paris. Very nice place. And, well, beside you is a table, which is a voter registration center. Well, and this is, well, an operation led by votefromabroad.org, which is a platform, well, helping American voters abroad participate in the election. Well, I hear that such operations have taken place also in other French regions. Well, I'm thinking of one in Lyon recently, and there will be other such registration drives, never mind the automobiles, and there will be other such registration drives, as I was saying, until October the 13th. Well, at this very spot in Paris. And then, well, you know, here in France, Americans are used to seeing their French friends and neighbors, you know, register the year before, otherwise they cannot vote. Well, in the US, things are obviously very different. It is absolutely possible to take part in this year's elections, well, provided that one observes the deadlines. Well, in case there are Americans who are not fully aware of these procedures, would you please explain briefly how it works?
Sure. So, for Americans living overseas, many of them may not realize that they still have the right to vote in U.S. elections, especially federal elections. Now, this right is administered by the states, which means that you still have to request to get your ballot from your state registrar. So that's basically what we do with Vote From Abroad, which is a nonpartisan platform which helps voters have the information and provide the necessary form. I'll show you. This form is called the FPCA, the Federal Postcard Application, and the one form will allow you to either register and request a ballot, and also to submit changes to your information. For example, if your address changes or you change your party affiliation. So this is the one form that voters who live overseas need to send in every election year in which they wish to vote. If you want to register to vote, it's still not too late. Voter registration deadlines in the States don't begin to close until the beginning of October, and many request deadlines are still open much later, some all the way up until Election Day itself. But because the process can be a little complicated, it varies by state. To keep it simple, we just tell people, get it done now. So this is now the window where it's best to make sure you get this paperwork done if you haven't done it already. For people who've registered before now and requested a ballot before now, you should have your ballot by today. So today is actually the deadline by federal law by which states must be sending out the ballots for overseas voters. So if you haven't received your ballot up until this point, it's very important to check with your local elections officials and make sure that it's on its way and that everything's in order.
Well, that's good. But you know, well, there's a problem, well, which can be found in most every democracy in the world. So many people saying, well, why should I vote? Well, my vote doesn't matter. Well, it's pointless. Well, surely you've met people saying that, you know. Well, and my question is, well, how do you talk to someone, anyone, who can possibly think that democracy can function when people don't vote? What do you say to these people?
Well, I think what happens is for many Americans living overseas, first of all, they aren't aware that it's actually very simple in order, to get a ballot to vote. So that's number one. It's simply being aware that this is an option available to them. Number two, democracy works when democracy works. We work better, I think, as a society when we are all participating in the national conversation electorally. So that's something that I believe, which is why I and others volunteer to do this in terms of helping other Americans register to vote. I would like to point out that, every single American living overseas has a federal election in which they can vote this year. The entire House is up for re-election. That's all 435 seats. 1/3 of the Senate is up for re-election, and if you can vote in state and local elections, then there are at least 35 governor races and 36 attorney general races. So, this is an extremely consequential, I would say the most consequential midterms election of my lifetime, and certainly in recent memory. So it's one to not sit out. I would encourage Americans, if you have questions about it, check out votefromabroad.org. We have a chat box, we have an email helpline there. We can help answer your questions about that.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Ada, and good luck.
Thank you. I think it's good to have the voter do a process that they can remember, and they remember more easily when they write it. They're like, oh yeah, I signed a form, and then we're like, hey man, because if we email them and they're like, why are you emailing us? Well, did you sign the form? Oh yeah. You know what I mean?